How are you? I'm back in the UK, back in the cold. If you cannot hear me, can you tell me on TikTok? Because I've just had to reset up everything and I don't know if it's working, but hopefully it is. Fun technical things. Okay, fantastic. Good morning, everybody. It is January the 16th and this is Artificial Intelligence with Kyle. I've never said it fully like that. This is AI with Kyle. It does stand for artificial intelligence, funnily enough. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit special. We're going to be looking at NotebookLM. Now, NotebookLM is a product from Google, which is one of my favorite AI products. It's free and very few people use it. Very few people know what it is. However, as soon as they do use it, they come back to me and they're like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever used. Why is nobody talking about this? NotebookLM is absolutely fantastic. So I want to give basically a quick overview showing what you can do with it and talking about some of the best practices. Now, one proviso here, NotebookLM is always changing. They're always adding new cool stuff to it. So if you're watching this a bit later, there's probably some additional functionality. That's fine. What I'm going to be focusing on is the workflow and how you can best use it. And that's just going to become better and better over time. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, TikTok. So, NotebookLM, what is it? I'll show you what it looks like if you've never seen it before. You can find it very easily. Just Google NotebookLM and you'll be able to access it using your Google account. So you'll need a Gmail account to log in. It is free. I think if you have a paid access to Gemini, you maybe get some more usage. I've never hit any limits in it with either my personal account or my paid business account. So I think it might just be free. Do not quote me on that. And I do not know the answer. I actually looked to find out if there's a way to pay for it or if there's any limitations, and I could not find it. Not that surprised. Google are not particularly good at highlighting those kind of things, but it doesn't matter. We can use it for free. We can get a lot of access to it for free. This is what it looks like. So you're going to have three basic panels when you create a new notebook. You're going to have on the left sources, you're going to have in the middle chat, and on the right you're going to have something called studio. Basically think of this as your inputs on the left hand side, the sources, and on the right hand side studio, those are your outputs. I'm going to go to a notebook, a bit meta here, but this is a notebook about NotebookLM, and I've actually used it to generate assets for this presentation I'm giving right now. So that's probably the most impressive thing that you can do with NotebookLM. This presentation that you can see on your screen is generated 100% by AI using NotebookLM. And as you can tell, it's pretty good. And the text is all correct. So 6 months ago, getting accurate text into a presentation like this, into images using AI, was basically impossible. But then Nano Banana Pro came out, that was Google's image model, and solved that problem. So now we generate presentations in NotebookLM using Nano Banana Pro, and they look like this. They are absolutely perfect. So why would we use NotebookLM, excuse me? Primarily, if we are studying or we want to teach a subject, it is a very good tool for anything to do with knowledge, acquiring knowledge or passing knowledge on to other people. We're going to talk first about teaching, and then I'm going to talk about I'm going to talk first about learning, and then I'll talk about how you can teach as well. However, I believe the two are very much intertwined. If you want to really master a subject, it's very important to teach it as well, because it's a really good way to master the material, basically. So the great thing about NotebookLM, and this I think goes unappreciated, is that what it's doing, which is very unlike ChatGPT, it's very unlike Claude, very unlike Gemini, is NotebookLM is allowing you to bring your own sources, and it's going to do all of its work based on those sources. So when you open up a new notebook, it will ask you, the first thing it asks is, okay, add sources. You can add sources from websites, so you can give it a list of URLs. You can add sources directly from YouTube, because this is a Google product. You can add a YouTube video, it will pull the transcript and the information from that video into NotebookLM. You can also pull in documents from Google Drive. So if you have a bunch of documentation about your product, for example, and you want to bring it into a notebook, you can just pull everything in. Or you can drop in your own sources. So we have PDF, text, markdown, audio, so it can listen to audio, doc, AVIF, BMP, various image files, all of the image files basically, even WebP, which is always causing chaos. So you can pull the sources in, and NotebookLM is going to be able to see and hear them, not just read them, but it's going to be able to work multimodal. Very, very, very cool. What they have added more recently is the ability to find sources within NotebookLM as well. So I can type something like, I want to learn about, let's say, neural networks. I've just put in the word neural nets, and then we can do fast research or deep research, and we can set it to either research on the web, so it's going to go out and scrape the best places, or from a local Google Drive. So let's say I had a folder full of textbooks or a folder full of my writing, for example. I'd be able to pull in information from there. But for now, we're just going to use the web, and we'll do fast research and press go, and it's going to pull in websites. Now, that's one way to get sources, or you go and find them yourself manually. So that is personally what I recommend doing. I recommend going and finding high quality sources yourself. So whatever you want to learn about, go and find the best websites, go and find the best YouTube videos, review them yourself, and then bring them into NotebookLM. If you just bring in as much information as possible, that is not necessarily going to be the best way to use NotebookLM. You want to curate, because we can add a huge amount of stuff. We can add 50 sources per notebook, and I think we can add 25 million words per notebook as well. That is a lot. However, if we do that, it's really not that much different from just using ChatGPT or from using Claude or from using Gemini. The really excellent part about NotebookLM is if we feed in high quality sources, it's going to provide all of its answers, all of its chat, all of its studio outputs based on that high quality input that we've given it. So garbage in, garbage out is extremely relevant with NotebookLM. So it might be tempting just to give it as many sources as possible. Can you see it's just found 7 sources here? I could just say import all, but I don't know if they're necessarily useful. So I would highly recommend, if you are using the source discovery, going to these pages and having a look at them. So here's one, Neural Network 0 to Hero by Andrej Karpathy. I know this is great. This is a really useful source because Karpathy is fantastic. So I'd go ahead and say, yes, import that. But I would go through each of these and just kind of check, are these worth bringing in or not? So you can either go out to Google, find these sources yourself, go to YouTube, find these sources yourself, or use the inbuilt deep research or the quick research to find those sources for you. I'm going to jump back to this one. So for me, for the presentation that I'm putting together now, I found an official tutorial and a couple of good YouTube videos. So I've only got 4 sources, but that's all I needed to put together the studio artifacts that I needed. I did not need to import everything ever written about the subject in order to get good results. So I highly recommend this for you as well. Do not overload it. Absolutely do not overload it. Garbage in, garbage out. So the next thing is you can now talk to your sources. So in the same way that when you talk to ChatGPT, talk to Gemini, Claude, whatever it is, you can discuss. That is fine. But that is relatively similar to using ChatGPT in, let's say, learn mode, or asking Claude to ask you questions about a certain subject. It's fine, but it's not that exciting. What is much more exciting than this chat mode is Studio. So I'm going to show you what we can do in Studio. So first of all, we can create, so I'm behind it. We can create the presentation. So this presentation was created by NotebookLM simply by clicking the button here, which is slide deck. So it takes the 4 sources that I gave it previously and it turned them into a slide deck for me. Very, very cool. That's not all. We can generate an audio podcast. We can create a video explainer. We can make mind maps. We can make various types of reports. So briefing docs, study guides, blog posts, or you can put in your own requirements, strategic memos, implementation, concept explainer, feature breakdown, etc. We can create flashcards, we can create quizzes, we can create an infographic, really cool, slide deck, and data tables if it is more numbers based. So let's have a look at what they look like. Oh no, that is going to be the video. So the first one is the slide deck. So that is the one I'm using right now to talk about NotebookLM. I know it's a bit meta, but you can see it's created a beautiful looking slide deck using Nano Banana Pro. That takes about 5 minutes or so to create, which is just be aware if you do need a presentation in the next few minutes, for whatever reason, it does take a little while. The next one would be this video explainer. We're gonna have some audio here.
All right, today we're gonna talk about a tool that makes a pretty huge promise. To take all that digital
I'll skip forward a bit. There we go. So you can see
it lets you synthesize entire libraries of information all at once. Okay, so once you've built this amazing expert knowledge base, you move on to step 2.
Okay, so you can see it's created a whole explainer video for me. So this is like a presentation with,
today we're going to talk about
excuse me, with a guy talking about it. So he's kind of doing my job. He's doing what I am doing right now. I hope mine is a little more interesting, but this is an incredibly powerful learning resource regardless. Next one would be, is this audio?
Let's unpack this. We all know the feeling, right? You're prepping for...
So this one, let me pull this up fully. So the interface is great, but there are sometimes some issues. Where is it? Here it is.
Or, I don't know, the biggest presentation of your career.
So this has created a 17-minute long podcast. We'll listen to it for a bit.
Maybe you're trying to master a complex new field, or you're just organizing this mountain of notes for a new business idea. You have the files, you know, the PDFs, the links, the voice memos, the training manuals. It's just a gigantic stack of potential knowledge. But how do you actually synthesize that mass into mastery quickly? You're drowning in information, and you need a lifeline.
It is the defining research challenge of our time. I mean, we have access to everything.
So as you just heard there are two voices. There's a male and a female voice, and they have a dialogue. They will talk about whatever topic you have given them. Whatever topic you want to learn about, they will have a two-person conversation about that topic. If you're on audio, and like if you need to listen to be able to hear, this is to be able to learn. Excuse me, I'm all over the place. Then this is a fantastic way for you to learn. You can also download it and then take it on the go with you to allow you to continue to learn. They've done something else which is really interesting. I'll show it to you. I don't think it's quite there yet, but it's very interesting. They have an interactive mode with their audio, so you can jump in as a guest on their podcast.
Okay, let's unpack this. We all know the feeling, right? You're prepping for, I don't know, the biggest
Oh wait, someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
Hey, this is... Oh, to turn my microphone on there. Hey, this is Kyle from AI with Kyle. I would love to know what the difference is between NotebookLM and using, let's say, ChatGPT.
Oh, we love that you jumped in, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle.
That is a phenomenal question.
And honestly, it is the fundamental question.
Because you are actually right.
They both look like a chat box.
But the difference is the core philosophy.
Okay, let's unpack this right now.
It comes down to two major things.
Context and source-grounded truth.
When you chat with something like ChatGPT, it's pulling information from the vast data set.
You get the idea. So that is very cool. I imagine you could probably do some interesting hacks there where you get them to kind of interview you. At the moment, they talk too much. I think everyone would agree with that. They are very verbose, and they will talk and talk and talk and talk. And it sounds like AI, honestly. What would be really cool, and I would not be surprised if we see something similar, is if there is a mode where they can interview you and kind of react back to what you're saying, which would be, if you are learning to public speak, if you want to go on podcasts, if you want to become a teacher, would be such a cool learning tool, because it allows you to explain ideas and have an audience listening to you. So it would become you speaking more and them listening and responding, rather than what it is right now, which is a lot of chatter. It's still very useful, but I think that could be 100% refined. Let's move on to some of the others. So this is a report. No, sorry, this is a note. I'll get back to that in a moment. This one is a report. So it has created a written report about the sources I've given it. That is great if you want to make some notes, if you need just some bullet points. You can also have it create things like blog articles. So if you wanted to potentially turn that into something that you're also going to publish, it can help you with that too. Let's look at the infographic. That's quite nice. That's really nice. I like that. So mastering NotebookLM, your AI research assistant. Step 1, curate your sources. So you put everything in here. Step 2, interact and learn. Chat with your custom expert. Oh, look here. Pro tip, quality in, quality out. The usefulness of the AI's output depends directly on the quality of your source. Great, that's something we've already talked about. Step 3, generate and act. So it's made this infographic for me. Looks good. Looks absolutely fine. You can also, when you click here, if you click on this edit button, you can give it style tips. So you can say, this is how I want it to be. Oh, I can put it into a detailed mode. Okay, let's give it some style. So use AI with Kyle, branding. That's the purple circle emoji. Ideally, I could kind of give it an actual brand assets. That would be really, really cool. That is not the case here, although I might be able to provide that in a source and it can use that. I'd have to test that around. But I'm just going to go ahead and say, create me a square infographic that is detailed. Use the AI with Kyle branding. I'm just going to say generate. Now that's going to take a little while, so we'll check back with that in a moment. What else do we have? So we have the infographic. We have, okay, if you are learning a subject, it's not generally enough for you to just kind of read and consume the information. You need to actively test yourself. So we can do that. We have flashcards. So we can use this. What is the primary differentiator between Google NotebookLM and general AI chatbots like ChatGPT? Well, that is the fact that we provide sources and it's grounded in the sources we provide rather than its general training. So here we go. NotebookLM is grounded only in the specific sources provided by the user rather than the open web. I think I got that right. Why is NotebookLM significantly less likely to hallucinate compared to other models? Well, in this case, again, we've grounded it in these certain sources. So as long as we provide high quality sources, we're going to get correct answer. It's not going to try and fill in the gaps with stuff it doesn't know, with stuff from its own model. It interpolates information strictly from uploaded resources rather than fabricating or assuming data. Okay, what is the maximum number of sources that can be added to a single notebook? I believe it's 50 sources, etc., etc. So we could use this in whatever we are learning. I'm currently learning Greek, for example, so I could feed in some Greek, a Greek grammar lesson that I'm working on right now, and it would be able to test me extensively on that grammar and on the vocabulary and on the things that I've learned. So again, I'm showing you one example, but you can feed in whatever sources you want. As well as the flashcards, we have a quiz. So here we go. What's the primary differentiator between NotebookLM and general AI tools? Well, it's grounded strictly in sources provided by its user, so I think that's going to be A. B, it has more creative writing style. Nope. C, it's the only AI tool that supports PDFs. Nope. And D, it can access real-time data from open web. Nope. So it's going to be A. That's right. So again, a way to cement and solidify our learning. And then the final one is this, which is a flowchart. Not a flowchart. Oh my God, what's it called? A mind map. Excuse me. So again, if you are studying, this is a way to break down the concepts of whatever you are learning. So let's see, NotebookLM, we can click on, oh, that's not very helpful. Ah, there we go, I can zoom in. So it's saying the studio outputs are audio and video, study tools, visual data. Oh, that's interesting. When I click on this mind map, it is telling me more information here in the chat box, rather than just letting me go through the mind map. That's fine. So this again is a way to explore a concept and see it broken down. All of this and its utility depends on how you learn. We all learn differently. I learn primarily through visuals. Others need to listen to things. Others need to be more kinetic and kind of try things. And then all of us can be supported by things like flashcards and quizzes, because that's forcing us to not just have the knowledge passively, but to actively apply it. And then we can do weird things like the audio, jumping in and having a conversation with the audio podcast and talking about concepts. Again, that might be a way to reinforce your learning. The point is there are many, many, many different artifacts that you can create here in the studio, and you're going to hone in on the ones that help you the most. Let's have a look if, okay, we've got our new detailed AI with Kyle branded, here we go, infographic. So it's added AI with Kyle. It's got a little emoji. It's put a little smiley face in it, which isn't right, but that's fine. I didn't give it much information. And this is the new detailed type of, this is in beta, so you can ask it to provide a lot more detail. It has added a huge amount of detail. I would say probably too much, but to be fair, it is detailed mode. So it's done exactly what we asked it to. So that's, again, pretty nice. It's cluttered, but again, that's detailed mode. So with all of the sources, you can click the kind of pencil icon and adjust them. So we can, for the quiz, for example, we can have easy, medium, and hard. A number of questions, we can say more questions, and then we can adjust the topic. We can give it custom instructions as well. So you can do this with every single one of these outputs. Very, very, very cool. What I would say is, I want to talk a little bit about Feynman. So Richard Feynman was a physicist, but also talked a lot about education. You can use NotebookLM to study for yourself, absolutely. But what I would recommend is going on to the next step. And when you have learned a topic, go ahead and teach it to others. You can do that very easily using NotebookLM, because you can now put together slide decks like this and then do exactly what I am doing, which is hop onto camera and record yourself going through a slide deck. I've actually done multiple like this. This is one I did the other day, which is about the need for marketing. You can't just build an AI tool and hope for the best. You need to also be able to market. So I've created multiple presentations like this and then just go through and present them. And I think this is a really good way for you to cement your own learning and create content that is going to help other people. You can post it up onto YouTube, you can post it up onto social media and start to build up a following around what you do. So you are killing so many birds with one stone here. That's a horrible metaphor, isn't it? But you are basically learning and mastering the topic yourself, but also forcing yourself up to that higher level by teaching it to other people. That is the Feynman technique. And at the same time, you can build an audience around what it is you are learning, because other people are going to want to learn with you. And you can, from that audience, you can start to build up a business if that's something that is interesting for you. But NotebookLM just makes it so easy to do, and very few people are using it in that way. I sat down this morning and I was like, oh, what am I going to do my live on? There's not much AI news right now. Oh, I know. I'll just throw together a quick presentation about NotebookLM and show people what it can do and why they should be checking it out. That would not have been possible a couple of months ago, because I wouldn't have been able to create beautiful slides like this. So it's a huge opportunity if you want to create content, if you want to educate people, and if you want to do that whilst you are learning a new topic as well. So very, very, very cool. It is free. I'm on a pro account here because I have Gemini Pro, but there is a free version too, and I don't believe the limits are significant. So there is no reason not to play around with it. Again, if you Google NotebookLM, it will pop up, and go and try it. Please do tell me what you find, and if you enjoy using it. I love it. And every time I introduce it to people, they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Why does nobody talk about this? So hopefully you have the same response too. Now I'm going to hop over to some questions. I know I've been babbling, but the reason was I wanted to get this kind of clean so that we have a presentation that can go onto YouTube. But I will now jump over to some questions. Thank you for your patience, for those of you who are still here. How do you deal with versioning? Since NotebookLM outputs PDF slides, you can't modify small things. So really good question here. So let's say here, I've created this PDF and I wanted to change this headline here. I cannot do that because it is an image. NotebookLM does a very clever thing, which is creating images, creating slides using images. So it's not actually structuring each component and working out where the components go. It is creating a Nano Banana Pro image of each slide. It's thinking, oh, what should this slide look like? And then generating an image. Very, very clever. However, leads to the problem, which was just mentioned in chat, of how do you change things? How do you change this title up here? Right now, you cannot do it in NotebookLM, which is annoying. However, you can in Manus. And they announced this just before Christmas, and I don't think everyone realized how powerful this was. So slides created with Nano Banana Pro are now editable inside of Manus. So once it's created that image, you can now select text and you can edit text. You can select certain parts like an image, like this image here. Let's say you had this image and you don't like this blue to white gradient. So you're able to select that in Manus and say, change this to red and green, and Manus will change just that element. So this has always been a problem in AI image generation, where you would give a instruction like this, change to red and green on the gradient, and it would do that and then change the whole of the rest of the slide and mess up everything else. So if you are happy with this part, if you're happy with the title, you're happy with the general structure, it's very difficult working with an image generator because it will tend to muck things up every single time. So Manus have basically fixed that problem. So you can create presentations in Manus in the same way that you create them inside of NotebookLM, but it's going to be using Nano Banana Pro. So it's the same underlying technology, just a different interface. And then you can edit them. What I imagine will happen is the NotebookLM guys will see what Manus have just done and be like, well, we need to do that too. So if you're watching this at a later date, you might be wondering, of course you can edit the presentation slides. I would not be surprised if they add that directly into NotebookLM, because that is such a killer functionality. It's really, really cool. What's the path to get into AI for someone who has no coding experience and a little tech knowledge? I've created an answer for that. People have asked me that so many times that I was like, I should answer this question. If you go to aiwithkyle.com, I've got a 5-day challenge. So if you, on the front page, there we go, there's my face, and right there at the front is get AI ready in 5 days, and you can enter this free challenge, which is basically 5 days of lessons, totally free. And then it will also signpost you to my other resources, because I have a bunch of free courses here. There's one about how to start a business with AI, one about how to start providing workshops to businesses and getting paid very well. I get paid about $2,000 an hour for giving workshops, and then a bunch of other courses here. There are also 90 plus playbooks on this website, a bunch of tools, etc. But a lot of stuff. So I'd say start here with this free challenge. That'll also get you into the community as well, where we post content, and it will get you on your way. So yeah, that's going to be the best place. Of course, I'm a little bit biased here. Sorry, just moving my microphone. Would you upload this live to your YouTube, please? Yes, I do every single day. So all of these go onto YouTube. So what I'm doing right now is I'm talking to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter and TikTok all at the same time. But the clean high-res version, I think it's 4K, that will go onto YouTube. It will also be edited as well. So right now I'm umming and ahhing and falling over my words, and this is kind of like the rough cut. My editor will tidy things up, and it would be a bit less chaotic. Still chaotic. We need a little bit of chaos. Is this your tool? No, I wish it was. No, this is NotebookLM. God, imagine if I'd made NotebookLM. No, this Google made this. You might have heard of them. Can you export the slides with audio? Do you mean the kind of video explainer? Oh, I just generated a new one. This one. Yes, I can download it. Yep. So I've downloaded this. Let me just pull that video into here.
All right, today
There we go. This is now a downloaded video, which I downloaded to my desktop.
So all this curating and learning, it all builds to what
So I could technically put this on YouTube. I don't know if people are, and I don't know how well it would go down, but you can create these explainer videos. So this explainer video with audio, with slide animations, which is 7 minutes long, I've now downloaded. So yes, you can do that. Again, free, which is absolutely mind-boggling. I missed the start of this live. Tell me what software this is again. This is NotebookLM. The whole guide that I've just done will be on YouTube a bit later. You do good lives, great educator. Thank you. This is my 124th live. I was rubbish initially. I can still improve a lot, but it gets easier. As with absolutely everything, repetition is the key. So for me, public speaking does not come naturally. I'm very introverted normally, but doing repetitions again and again and again and again allows you to up your skill. So I've been doing social media on TikTok, Instagram for the last 2 years or so. And again, starting that was really difficult. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to say it. I spent hours editing and kind of getting in my own way. But as you practice and as you do it more and as you do it on a daily basis, it becomes a habit. It's the same with the lives. This is live number 123 or 124. The first one was horrible and I just forced myself to do it. And then I've been consistently doing it pretty much every single day. Not yesterday because I was flying, but it's a skill that can be practiced. So if you are out there and you're thinking, oh, I should start social media, or I should start doing lives, or I should start getting on camera, just do it. The first time you do it, it will not be very good, and that is fine. Nothing that we do for the first time will be able to do well. We just have to get over that kind of awkward, cringy hump, and then spend a few months getting better at a skill, and then we get to a place where it's a bit more comfortable. But there's no easy way through that. You just have to kind of do the work, unfortunately, until it becomes easy. Canva magic word will change them. Magic text, yes, great. That's another way to do it. So you take your PDFs, you take it over to Canva, and then you can edit them as well. That's a really good point. Thank you. Oh, and GenSpark. Yes, GenSpark's really good. Maybe I should do a presentation about GenSpark. GenSpark is one of those other pieces of software that not that many people know about, but when you actually use it, it's like, oh this is really good. I might do something on GenSpark. Can you see a market in teaching how to use Claude? No, not really. So the thing about Claude is amazing. Claude is my favorite AI model. I absolutely love Claude. Not that many people use it. The market right now is in teaching people how to use ChatGPT because it has 900 million users, and Sabrina Ramanov was talking about this the other day, teaching people how to use Copilot, because very few people are focusing on that area of the market, and a lot of businesses, a lot of enterprises have to use Copilot because they use Microsoft. So the better businesses over there. Teaching Claude has two problems. The first is the market's not very big. Not very many people use Claude. When you step outside of kind of our niche, of our group of people who are interested in artificial intelligence, if you go and talk to someone in the street and you ask them about Claude, they'll be like, what the hell is Claude? Nobody knows what Claude is, except for in our very, very tight circles. So the people who do know what Claude is, they are already quite advanced. They already know what they are doing. So if you're going to teach them, you have to be teaching them at a high level. So there's a market in teaching Claude code, for example. But for Claude generally, no, I would say probably not. I would focus on Copilot, even though it's not very good. A lot of people need training there and very few people talk about it. Or ChatGPT, just because it has a huge market. So for example, when I am doing content on social media and you have to do things like hashtags, you would never hashtag something with Claude or Anthropic because nobody knows what that is. So generally you'd be hashtagging with ChatGPT, which has millions and millions and millions of videos and content about it. Claude Code is not free. No. Claude Code is probably my favorite AI tool of all time. It is not free. So I'm on the $200 a month plan. You can get it on the $20 a month. There's a couple of ways to get it. So it will appear here in code inside of Claude. This is the web version. This is the simplest way to get into it. It's opened it in my desktop, which is not helpful. Or you can use it via the command line interface, so you can install it, but then you connect it to your Claude account. Or you can use it via the API, and then you're charged per billing. But the simplest is through here. But anyway you're using it, it's going to cost money. If you're on the $20 a month Claude plan, you will run into limits very, very quickly. So most people will move to the $100 or the $200 a month plan, which I know is not cheap, but the power and the potential you get from using Claude Code is so gigantic that if you're using it, if you're building businesses, if you are building product, if you're selling, Claude Code is still quite cheap at $200 a month. I know it's still a lot of money though. I do get that. Is Google Gemini and Google Suite products worth teaching? A few months ago, I would have said no, but increasingly, yeah, I think it is. I really think it is. So I'm running an AI workshop cohort right now. We started on Monday, and one of the questions was asked was, oh, do you have any NotebookLM trainings? Because people have been asking me about it. So that's in part one of the reasons why I put together this presentation today. This is like a first run at me giving a workshop about NotebookLM. And then I will refine it and then license out that material. But I had to start here. So yes, I think there is increasingly a lot of interest in Gemini and a lot of interest in NotebookLM. And some businesses use the Google Suite. So generally, let's look at the market share here. We've got Microsoft. Let's just say versus Google. It's like enterprise we're looking for. So specifically Google Workspace and Microsoft 365, Microsoft Copilot 365, etc. Let's see if we can find an image. I don't know why I'm asking Google and not asking ChatGPT. Here we go. At the beginning of 2025, apparently, I haven't checked the source of this, but let's, okay. At the beginning of 2025, Google Workspace had a 45% market share, Microsoft 365 held 29%, and other competitors accounted for the remaining 26%. So paint mixing, yeah, yes, 100%. So what I'd love to see the difference between the size of those companies, because all of the big companies I go and talk to, not all of them, but a vast majority of them use Microsoft. So that tends to be used at the large enterprise level, whereas Google Workspace tends to be used by smaller companies, not across the board, but I would love to see the stats on that. So I still think Copilot is a really good market to move into because it's huge companies who need help with this kind of stuff. But I think Google Workspace, as you say, I think there would be an opportunity teaching there as well, especially now that people are using Gemini. So for the last year or so, or the last couple of years, ChatGPT was the only game in town. So what we were seeing was shadow IT inside of businesses, inside of corporations, where they were, staff members were basically bringing ChatGPT to work. And that is still very much the case. But now that Gemini is actually good, since Gemini 3, it's more plausible that the people who are quietly bringing ChatGPT to work will just use Gemini. They'll be using the sanctioned AI, which is not the case with Copilot, because Copilot's not very good. Yeah, Google Labs, AI Studio, there's so many within Google. Yes. So Google have a strange problem where their ecosystem is so vast and they put out so many tools that it's kind of hard to know which ones to use. So you mentioned AI Studio there. They have AI Studio, they have Google Jules, is it called? I think it's Jules. They have Google Gems. can't even type it. Why can't I type this? There we go. Yeah, Jules, an autonomous coding agent. Yep, they have Google Gem, which is also, it's not called Gem, is it? Opal, excuse me, which is an experiment. So Google Opal, they have Jules, they have AI Studio, they have Anti-Gravity, they have, I'm blanking out on them, but I think they have like 6 or 7 different coding or vibe coding tools in their ecosystem, and it's very hard to tell, or it's very hard for people to work out which one they should be using. So Google have a strange problem, which is they throw so much spaghetti at the wall and they kind of hope one thing sticks, but it's hard to tell which one you should be using. I would say with NotebookLM, it's reached a level of maturity where it's well worth using. Anti-gravity is fine, but not good enough to pull me off cursor personally. But if you want to save some money, anti-gravity is great because it is the wonderful price of free. So that's a very good reason. Jules, I played around with, never really used. Opal, I wasn't particularly impressed with. I was in a group of people who were asked to experiment with it, and I didn't really see the point of it. And Google AI Studio is fantastic, but if you do not, why am I not in? There we go. Google AI Studio has a huge amount of power and control in here, but the UI and the user experience is a bit complicated, so it's hard to know where to start. If you are in here, go to build. If you want to vibe code, go to build, and that will just bring up a chat panel. So this is like using Lovable, it's like using Replit, base 44, etc. This just allows you to chat and to vibe code. But again, that's kind of hidden away. If you just wanted to vibe code something and you have no idea about code and you get to this screen, and it's like, what do you want to do? Build AI apps, chat with models, monitor API usage, explore Nano Banana Pro, text to audio with Gemini. Yeah, this is like, what the hell do I do? And if you scroll down, it's got some Python code for importing. Like, this would scare you off. It would terrify you. So you have to find this build button, and then you can just vibe code stuff. So Google have a really cool ecosystem. I think they have a bit of a messaging, a bit of a marketing problem, especially when it comes to the wider market. So people like you and I would spend some time digging around, trying these things out. For the average user though, no, it's too complex. And that's why companies like Lovable can still do very, very well. Because I know a lot of people saw this Google AI Studio build and they're like, oh, Lovable's dead. Lovable's not going to survive this. It's like, no, what are you talking about? Lovable makes it easy to use, whereas Google hide it under multiple layers and you have to dig around to finally find the thing you're looking for, which has always been a Google problem. But they are doing better and they're pushing out some really good stuff as well. Google famous for killing mildly successful products. Yeah, there is, oh God, is it just killed by, yeah, killedbygoogle.com. I need to be careful. I got a message yesterday from the head of comms at Google, and she's like, oh, do you want to talk to our head of Nano Banana and do an interview? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. I've just been sent dates, so I'm going to interview and chat to the head of Nano Banana. But now I'm on this live, like, Google, what are you doing? That's okay. They know that I'm not. I try to be very even in my coverage. So if I think you're doing something badly, I will say so. If I think you're doing something well, I will also say so. This is because I'm not sponsored by anyone, so I can kind of say what I want. But this is a hilarious website. It's called Killed by Google, and it now has 299 applications that have been murdered by Google over the year, including some really good things. Things like Google Domains. I used to buy my domains from Google Domains. And after 9 years, they're like, nah, you can't do that anymore. Google Optimize, that was great. The one that really upset me was the RSS reader. What was it called? Google Reader? Yeah, Google Reader, which was fantastic. And they just left the market to people like Feedly, who got greedy. So Google have had loads of amazing products that they just shutter, because part of their kind of modus operandi is have lots of teams working on lots of cool things at the same time. Only some of them are going to become a big success, and the rest of them will appear on this website eventually. I mean, it's fine. It's an experimental, see what sticks approach. How to start learning vibe coding, and for free. Okay, that's good timing. So anti-gravity. Google Anti-Gravity is an IDE, it's a development environment which will allow you to work for free. Because it's relatively new, it came out in December, it is free. I imagine they might start charging at some point, but right now you can just build. So you get access to Gemini 3, obviously, Claude Sonnet and Opus 4.5. So they give you access to their competitors' model. They're very good models, and to GPT OSS, that is the open source version of ChatGPT. I wouldn't bother with that. Use Gemini 3 Pro or Opus, but that is free. You can also come to Google aistudio.google.com and click on this build button, and you can build things in here. So this is also free. And what happens is if your app becomes really popular and a lot of people start using it, you'll pay for your usage of the AI. So whatever AI you're building in the back. So if you're using Gemini 2.5, Gemini 3 Pro Preview, etc., eventually you'll start to pay for that usage. But that's only going to happen if your app is really popular. So I think that's fair. So those two are free and they're both from Google. If you want to pay, you said for free, but if you don't mind paying a little bit, then Lovable would be my focus. Lovable is a really, really good product. They have just included a upgrade to business. Why am I not logged in? They've just launched a $5 a month plan, but I don't know how you access it. I don't know if it's available everywhere, but it's $5 a month. And Lovable is one of the easiest tools to build in, but it is not free. So that would be my recommendation. It's a good question. It is a really good question. Somebody saying Claude Code and Cursor. Unfortunately, they're not free. They're very, 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 very good. But the question asked by Fukuyama is how to start learning vibe coding and for free. So I'd start in the Google ecosystem. If and when you have money, then to spend on your projects, then Claude Code. Claude Code is the best, just by an absolute mile. Bitmixing says Google AI Studios built me some fab apps, to be honest. Yeah, Gemini 3 is really good. It's a really good little model, and the fact that this is free, it's kind of hard to beat, honestly. Can Gemini make language learning apps? Yeah. In fact, Google Gem translation. No, that's not what I want. Here we go. Is this it? They've just released, here we go, Translate Gemma. It's good timing. They've just released 19 hours ago, great timing, Translate Gemma, a new suite of open translation models. Today we're introducing Translate Gemma, a new collection of open translation models built on Gemma 3. So Gemma is like a really small model from Google, Gemini, Gemma, helping people communicate across 55 languages no matter where they are or what device they are on. So Gemma models tend to work on telephones. They're very small, very lightweight. So I would look at this. This is apparently a very good translation model. So if you're building a language learning app, this is going to be something that could potentially be part of that app. It depends what you're building, obviously, but you can start in Google AI Studio. You go to the build section. You literally type in, I want to build a language learning app. I want it to be like Duolingo, but for whatever languages, and I want to be able to add grammar learning material. I don't know, whatever your idea is, it's making it different to Duolingo, and build will go ahead and help you sketch that out, and you can build it using their models, and you can tell it, hey, I want to include this translation model that is going to be downloaded and installed locally on the devices of the users to allow them to, for example, have speaking practice. So the Google ecosystem is really good if you are building language learning apps, 100%. I Am You Real says you have to pay for the really good pro models. Yeah, there's no way around that, unfortunately. The fact is we can now build businesses and we can build product faster than ever. using Claude Code, and Anthropic know that we can do that, and they know that that's incredibly valuable. And now in my business, me and my business partner will have an idea, and he'll say, oh, we could do this, and we'll have a discussion back and forward, and then I can just build it, and it will be done within an hour. And I'll be like, okay, here we go, here's the first draft, and then we go back and forward, and we can then release it to our customers. That is worth a lot of money, and Anthropic know that. They know that we can make money with it, so they feel perfectly justified, and I think are justified in charging $100, $200 per month, because we can build stuff that is so valuable. If you are building something that you're not selling, for example, let's say you're building this language learning app, but you want to give it away for free, so it's going to be more charitable, it's going to be more educational, then apply for free credits. All of the major models, all of the major companies, Anthropic, ChatGPT, OpenAI, and Google, they all have grants and they all have funds to help with that kind of thing. So if you're building and you're going to sell something, then $200 a month for Claude Code is actually quite small. It's tiny compared to how much you can make. But if you are building and you want to give it away, talk to the companies and find out what is available. Because they all have grants and they have charity programs that will help you get free credits. So chat to them all. Right, I'm going to hop off. Thank you for coming to this slightly chaotic live. I've just landed back in the UK and I haven't unpacked. And the first thing I unpacked was my camera, and I was missing a tripod plate, and it was all very chaotic. So thankfully, we managed to get one done. Today, we have looked at NotebookLM, and hopefully I have encouraged a couple of you to go and play around with it. It is fantastic. And then we actually went on a little tour of the rest of the Google ecosystem. We looked at anti-gravity, we looked at Google AI Studio. We looked also at the other side of the coin, which is killed by google.com. But hopefully this was a useful introduction to some of the Google ecosystem. And there was a very interesting question, which was, do you think there is a good business in teaching people about what Google have available? Which I'd never really thought about before, but yes, I think there is. So thank you for that paint mixing ASMR. Whoever gets into that niche will do very well, I'm sure. This live, as always, will be edited, chopped up, tidied up, and put onto YouTube, so you'll be able to find the clean version there. And if you go, that is not my website, I should know this by now. If you go to aiwithkyle.com and you join up here with the free challenge, the Get AI Ready in 5 days, or you've joined the community up here, you will be sent a newsletter every day, which is basically a summary of the prior live I gave. So for example, this was from a couple of days ago. You'll get this in your inbox. So running through the news of the day, my take on the news, plus any useful resources. Here we go, 3 ways to access Claude Code. This popped up on the live earlier. How do I use Claude Code? And I go through, here are the 3 ways you can get into it, etc., etc. So this particular newsletter was all about Claude Code. So it would be the news, or it would be a guide like I just covered today. And that is available for free on aiwithkyle.com. There is also the Get AI Ready in 5 days course, and a whole bunch of other free courses here. How to start a business using AI. I think it's one of the best times ever to start something yourself. It's also a risky time to have a job. So having your own income from your own side project it's pretty sensible right now. And a training on how to give workshops to businesses as well, which is highly lucrative. So that's all available free on the website. So if you go to aiwithkyle.com, make sure you sign up to the newsletter and to the YouTube, which is, what are we now, 13,000 subscribers. Yeah, we're getting there. Very cool. I love this. I've got this thing here that gives me my estimated monthly earnings. Apparently I'm earning between $3,000 and $9,000 from my YouTube. I don't know when they're going to send me that money. Google, you can send me that money. I am not. Awesome. Great. Thank you guys. And I will see you next Monday. Thanks so much.